Welcome back to the third lecture in the lecture series of version control systems. In the last lecture, we have been discussing about branching and issues. We have seen how to create branches, how to check out between branches, and also we have seen how to raise issues and specify different descriptions for your issues. In our today's practical lecture, I will be talking about local Git configurations. So I will show you how you can create or how you can configure your usernames, emails in local and global level, and also how you can set text editor as a default text editor for your GitHub. Basically, what we are going to do today is we'll prepare your local environment in your PC to work with Git. And for that, the first requirement is for you to install Git on your machine. So I assume you have installed Git successfully on your machine. Then we will proceed to the next step in this lecture. So first thing to do would be to open a terminal. Since I am on Mac, I can use a secure terminal. And here I have a terminal. Here, for instance, my location is somewhere inside Git container. Okay, inside Git container. I have created this Git container by myself by using mkdir Git container. Okay, but if you are in using Windows, then you can use a command mkdir, I guess, and you can navigate to the Git container folder by using cd. The same is true for Linux users. Okay, so the purpose of using this Git container folder is to get rid of messes in your directory structure. So everything we will be doing regarding version control systems will be stored inside this one container folder or directory. In the previous practical lecture, I was showing you how to create branches and how to raise issues by using the GitHub platform. So, but in the very first lecture of this lecture series, we also discussed about the difference between Git and GitHub. We said Git is another thing, GitHub is something on top of Git. So now in this local repository, we are not going to work with GitHub specifically. We are going to work with only Git, which is another tool. Okay, so I assume you have created a container folder to get rid of messes. Then I will show you how you can check your Git version and then configure your local Git or version control system environment. So basically, in order to check the version of your Git, you can simply issue Git version command. So for the purpose of this tutorial, if you have a Git with version 1.7 and more, that would be enough. Okay. So that being said about the version of the current Git, there are three configuration levels for your Git. The first one is system level, the second one is global level, and the third one is local level. So the default Git config command is a local level configuration, a local level configuration. So if you want to see the current configuration of your Git, local Git, you can simply say git config list. Okay, it shows detailed configurations that you have made to your local file. So the next step would be to, for instance, to configure username and email for your Git environment, for your local Git environment. And for that, you can do git config. Here, the default is local, but if you want to make it global, for instance, you can explicitly refer to the global keyword. And then user.name is used for username. My GitHub username is Nathaniel Argao, for instance. Then again, the same can be applied for email. Email is my GitHub email. Okay, like this. So if I issue git config global list, it will show me the current version of the current state of the configurations that I have made to my repository, like this. So I have configured username, and then I have configured email, user email. So this will be used by all local repositories that will be created in the subsequent operation, since I have declared this configuration as a global configuration. So the second configuration that you can make in a very simple manner is to set the default text editor for your local Git repository. Look, you can have different text editors in different operating systems. For instance, in Linux-based systems, you might have Nano, you might have Vim, you might have Gedit. Okay, different text editors are there. And if you consider another system, for instance, Mac, in Mac, I do have Nano. If I install, I might have Atom. The same is true for Windows. Specifically in Windows, you can also use Notepad.exe and other text editors that you might have in your system. Okay, so the default one, for instance, in my case, is Vim. So GitHub or Git, actually, we are not talking about GitHub. So Git by default uses Vim to edit different configurations in your repository or local workspace. So, but depending on your interest, depending on the task you are going to do, you might want to change the default one to a new one. For instance, in my case, for instance, I might want to change the default Git editor in global level. Okay, when I say global, it means all other repositories I'm going to create locally will inherit this configuration. Okay, all local repositories. So global code editor, then I can say, for instance, Nano. Okay, so this automatically makes my default editor to Nano. As you can see here, I have added third configuration to my configuration list. So you can do the same for all types of editors. For instance, if you have Notepad, you might say notepad.exe, specifically in Windows. Okay, this should work. If you have Vim, you can also say Vim. You can simply change the name of this editor, preserving the command git config global code.editor.